Good afternoon, Nelson teachers. I've been getting some questions about how to communicate with students using Google Classroom and things like that. Should we be emailing them if we can't use Skyward? What should we do? So I'm just going to make a really quick video to show you how what are some ways to communicate with students, sort of using Google Classroom and also their Gmail. So I'm going to really start with how I predominantly communicate with my students is not primarily through Skyward, but really what it is through my Gmail. Okay, so it's not my Renton email, but my Gmail because my Gmail is connected to my Google Classroom. Okay, so for example, I can see when students have submitted assignments. I can see when students have actually left messages on or private comments on an assignment. So, for example, this student left a private comment on the virtual museum tour assignment I have. So I can actually just reply. When I click reply, it'll take me directly to his comment. So that's not an email, but that's a comment that this student actually left on the assignment. So I could actually reply back here. And I think that I can't remember some examples of where we've had conversations on there. But that is sort of how I that's one way you can provide that feedback. So for example, that those comments can also be where you are providing feedback when a student is turning in an assignment. I will often provide feedback under that private comment as well. So for example, this student has turned this in. I haven't returned it. What I might do is add a private comment or add feedback here and then press return. And then it will show up like this. Okay. But this also gives students the opportunity to communicate back and forth on a direct assignment. For example, you can see here on that virtual tour, you can see that this student had a question. So I can actually just respond on this actual assignment. Okay. That is one really easy, really simple way to communicate with students is just directly in Google Classroom. Another way is through their Gmail. So I've actually used their Gmail for a lot of different things. I've actually emailed graded CBA I've emailed graded rubrics to them. So I just would attach the file and email it to them. That way they can never say they lost their rubric, something like that. A lot of students will communicate via email. So for example, I've had conversations with this student about where an assignment was. It is really easy to send an email to a student using your Gmail. So as long as you are logged in on your computer, like your school computer, if you just type in Gmail on the search bar, it will automatically pop up for your Nelson Gmail, okay, or your Renton Gmail, and you can just double check to make sure it has that R there. And then really to send any email to any student, you just type in their name and it pops up right there. But this is not their Renton email, and you can tell because there's a G dot right there. Okay, so literally any student you could type. Uh, oh, and I believe it does quicker with students that you have. Any student really, and then you can just send them that email. Um, a lot of my students already know to check their Gmail. What you can do is send probably make an announcement in Google Classroom, um, just saying, hey, I'm going to predominantly communicate via email. If you have any questions, you can do that in there. Um, it is a really simple way to send emails to students, and it's already through sort of that Google interface. And the other reason I like using that Gmail as well is because it does notify me. Uh, because it's kind of confusing sometimes to look through each of my classes to see who's turned things in or each of my assignments. For example, if I'm posting 3 assignments a week and I have 5 classes, that's 15 different assignments I would have to look at in Google Classroom to see who's turned them in. But if I look on my Gmail, I can see, okay, I have these here. I can click on it here, and then I can just open it right there. and it'll take me directly to it in Google Classroom. So that is really helpful as well. And it just shows me when students have left comments uh, and or when they've actually just turned it in. So that is really a really good way to provide feedback, to communicate with students via email as well. Um, and so, yeah, I think it's just a really cool way. Please let me know if you have any other questions. I know this video is really quick, but I feel like a lot of people have been asking me about that, and I want to try and um, provide them with some ease and with some feedback during this time. Thank you.